What's up everyone? I've just got another roll to go through, this time sparring with Owen again. We just finished wrestling class, and he was kind enough to have a little round with us at the end afterwards, purely to get it up on here and have a talk over it, so cheers for that one. Well, let's get stuck in then. So starting stood up, you're about to see the best glutes in Hull, not mine, just right there, look at them, absolutely amazing. Cheers, Jay. So, working for a switch single here. Owen's on nice and tight on the body lock, keeps his head tight. Just not giving me any space. I managed to lock Kimura up. Owen does a nice job just pulling out. Looking for the arm drag. Been playing a little bit more butterfly, half butterfly guard. Trying to get my elevation game going. Owen gets a nice double underpass here. He just cuts around the corner. Try and hip out. He's got good control of my neck. And he pops over the hips again. Again, looking for the switch single. Then Owen steps over the leg. So I need to learn the counter to that, because it really worked. Comes over for the head and arm. Kind of caught me off guard there. I was very off balance. Cinches up nice and tight. I'm trying hard to just keep some space in there, but he sits through. And he gets a nice finish there. Just standing back up. Straight back in. Again, clinching. Go for a little bit of a Kazushi there. Nothing from it. Just trying to break his posture and look for a snap down using the collar ties. I like having the inside space. Use my forearms to frame because kind of protects me from the shot. Go for a sweep single. Get a nice purchase on it, but he just pops my head to the other side and he's straight on that neck. He comes up with the underhook. I think I'm fighting the hands here. Just managed to get my hands inside and I just invert because my hips were free. Just bringing those legs back in front. Now, looking to be up a little bit more on my side so I can heist in this butterfly guard rather than staying on bottom all the time and just accepting pressure. So I'm just looking for an underhook, looking for a sweep, and then I'm thinking, right, I can come up here, look for the snap down, but Owen stands up and just re-engages with the clinch work. Very slippy, very sweaty at the end of the session. Lovely single from Owen, just pulls me to the mat. My reaction was just to sit to my butt and pull guard essentially. Looking for the collar ties, lacing the leg, bit of pressure on. So I'm just framing, trying to extract that top leg. Getting the collar tie again, but it just keeps moving forward that pressure and I just let him close that distance. I get a bit too comfortable. He gets a nice pass, but I feel like my frames are in a good position, one on the hip, one on the neck. He's going to start working. I'll just pummel that hand inside when he switches his hips. And then here I managed to get both my elbows in front of his side. And I bump myself underneath and just invert because I felt him pushing forward towards my head. So I just use that momentum. Again, lacing up the legs. Pummeling to the inside. Gets a nice head grab here. And I like how he just covers the hips straight away. He's not scared of me having my legs underneath his legs when he's got a good purchase on the neck. Because there's not going to be a leg lock there. Got a nice grip there. He clears the elbow, but I've just got this hand on the inside. Managed to get my hand back in the inside of the bicep, but he just comes up for the neck crank here. Try and frame just to prevent it, and then I had to tap. Very, very tight. Very, very tight on the neck. Okay, so this round was in two parts, so there's another part to this. But we're just going to have a little look through and maybe just slow some little pieces down. And just have a look at what's going on. So, let's have a little play. So, just a little bit of a guard exchange here. So, I'm on my side. Owen gets the double unders position. And he's nice and heavy. He's covered the hips. He's past the legs. I'm framing on his hips right now. As he's moving round, I'm just going to hip back in. So he gets a grip around the crotch. So he's controlling my hips. And he's looking to grab my head. I've got my left knee on the inside and I've also got a frame on his hip, so my knee and my elbow are coming together. So as I retain my guard, he had a little grip on my neck there and I just cleared it. And I managed to get both feet pummeled back to the inside. But he anticipated me sitting up for double underhooks because that's something I've been doing quite a lot recently. As I shoot up for my double underhooks and I try and extend my legs to get the forward shift going, he just sinks his head deep. Arms around the legs, trying to swallow the hips up, and he just hops around that leg. And because his arms are really tight around the waist, he just gives me no space to start bringing my legs back in. So what do? I have to build up to an elbow. I don't want my body on the mat. He's controlling my legs, but he's not controlling my upper body. So I'm just going to turn to his legs and I'm just going to lock up on that switch single grip. Now, my goal here is to sprawl my hips out and bring my hips around and break Owen's grip. So I need to have the bottom side of my legs free so they can come out and away from Owen. So what does he do? He steps over the legs. So now, for me to swing my hips out, there's no space. He's got a tight grip around the waist. He's got a grip on the knee line, just under the hamstring. And he's closing off the lower leg. So I can't really move away from him here. So I hold on to the single leg, but watch what he does now. He comes to the hip, gets a tight waist, ear tight to the back of the shoulder. So when I'm reaching for this guillotine, you see how I just can't quite reach around the corner fast enough, because this arm around my neck is just going to plant me back to the mat. As he plants me to the mat, he plants his head to the mat and he's turning around this corner for the head and arm straight away. Gets his hands together. I try and swing my arm out, but there's no space. He's got all the way to the mount here, but I'm just going to look at trying to control this ankle. Now, I've previously mentioned, if you catch the ankle in this position and they're tight on the head and arm, I'm not focusing right now on keeping this ankle. I'll just hold on to it for a little bit, but I'm not bothered if he frees it. My main concern is getting a good position with this arm so that I can maybe clear it from between my head and his. So if he does a good job of keeping it tight, which he does, he comes around the corner, turns me away, gets nice tight pressure. I'm currently grabbing my arm, my wrist, and internally rotating my shoulder so that my elbow's pointing towards the space that's between my head and Owen's head. But I can't quite get the bridging motion to clear that arm through because he's really tight and his head's touching my head at all points. He sits through and then gets the squeeze for the finish. Really nice. So let's move on forward. See what else happens. Okay, this, not this one. I think if we keep going through, there's a point. Okay, yeah, so let's go through this escape here. Just looking at the frames. So, right now, my hips are pinned to the mat, and his shoulders pinned to my stomach. So, I can't really build up. I'm focusing on where my arms are going to go. I'm not too fussed about getting my guard past. I like to work from bad positions. I think it's an important skill to develop. Always practicing your escapes. So, I can fight for the guard here, but he's got a really tight position, so I'm going to let him settle in, and I'm going to try and escape from the side control, because I think that's going to be my best strategy, rather than exposing my back potentially, and or exposing my neck, trying to come up and reach for his legs again, because I've just done that at the beginning of the round, and I got caught. So, I'm going to look and get my frames in position here. So, always, the first one I'm looking for is this forearm inside the hip. Not my elbow on his hip, not my hand pushing on his hip, just my forearm, and I'm relaxed. This hand here, I don't like that he's got his head underneath my elbow because I know he's got a good head and arm choke. So I'm blocking off at the forearm, and I'm going to start pummeling that inside the neck, right there. So I've got a frame on his neck, and I've got a frame on his hips. So I feel quite comfortable here. He's tightening his crossface, so he's going to sit through to clear this elbow. As soon as I feel him sit through, I like to just pummel my hand in front of the shoulder so that I can control the inside space in front of this arm, so I can clear my head. So he gives me an opportunity here to clear my head. I pummeled my arm to the inside. But he's going to go for a grip on my shoulder, and he's going to cross-face me from the top. So he's got a nice grip there, and he's going to slide that round, just reaching for the neck. So I've got my right arm tucked in, and I go back to the hip with the left. Little buck just to create some space, keeping that pressure on. So right now, this is where I know that I was going to get out, because I had two frames inside space, one under his armpit, one under his hip. So he was just laying on top of me in this position. So he's going to try and drive into my forearms, because I'm going to push against him. So I'm getting my push going, and I slide back. What I'm going to do now, as he drives in towards my head, I'm going to just bump my knees to my chest. and then I'm just going to bring my knees to my chest and extend my arms above my head. So using my elbows to clear myself from underneath, rotating underneath, bringing my legs in, and because I've got my elbow inside of his armpit, my knee can connect to this elbow and I can retain my guard. So you see how my knee comes inside this elbow, and then I'm just going to spin myself back through, and as soon as I'm in, I'm looking to get both my feet back inside. I'll go to half guard. Well, there, yeah, I'm pummeling to the inside, and that's when he gets the neck grab. So we'll go through that next. We'll just have a little look at that escape one more time. Where was it? It was around here. There we go. So just in action. So just the frames coming in. Just staying calm and relaxed. Really good top pressure. Just trying to keep my arms on the inside space. And then I'm just going to get that push-pull, create that space, get the knee to elbow, and just rotate back to a guard. Okay, now let's look at this leg grab. So as I'm trying to get my grips with my feet, trying to hook inside and keep the distance, I'm just going to cup that leg, and as I'm off balance moving backwards as he's lifting that leg, he just dives over, gets a nice grip on the chin. Something I need to work on. I seem to always get my chin caught with Owen, so I need to probably work on keeping good posture, keeping my head up, and fighting the hand faster. So, gets a nice grip on the chin, gets his hands together, and right now, because of his grip and his positioning with his shoulders, he doesn't have to worry about giving away the inside space on his legs. So he's actually going to just step over both of my legs and sit nice and tight, so he's crunching in to really put a lot of pressure on the spine. So right now, it's pretty useless me being in this position because he's got control of my head and my shoulders. He rolls over the top and he locks up a grip. So he's looking for his anaconda. Now, I'm going to defend this arm. I don't want him to get this hand over the backside of my shoulder, round to the lat. So I'm going to get a grip on his wrist. He's got a nice tight grip, so if he gets that over, it's over for me. So he's following me with his hips. He's going to use his top leg to trap my elbow because I'm pushing that elbow out to create space. See this space right there? That's because of this elbow. So watch what happens when he clears it with his leg. Boom. That space gets smaller. But I've still got hold of this wrist. He tries to retract it, but I get my hand to the inside of that arm. But he's already ahead. He's just coming up to his knees and he gets the underhook. Now there's just immense pressure on this neck and shoulders right now. It was extremely uncomfortable. I tried to frame with my right arm. My left arm's on underneath his hips, so I can't really get my hands together or fight his hands. As he switches his hips and he pulls that neck, you'll see he gets a nice extension of this thoracic spine. Lots of pressure on the neck. And I try and frame to create pressure, but I'm only pushing him away and helping him stretch my neck. And so I have to tap with my left hand. Probably one of the most uncomfortable submissions I've ever been in. Just really disgusting chest pressure. You just can't breathe. So, lots of good stuff there. What else? Anything else? I don't think so. Let's just have a look at this head and arm again. Just one more time, I'll just play it through. So you're going for this pass just in sequence. Have a little look at how this wrestling scramble comes up. And he blocks the legs. Goes to the hip and the neck, drives me back to the mat, round the corner, keeping everything tight. And I'm trying to do everything I can to get out here. Nice pressure, great finish.